Do another edition, I guess, because I can't really call these shows. I guess another episode, sort of.
A little kiss, a
Yeah,
taste.
it is. It's a taste. The All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am here with Bill Kimler on all of the social medias as political Bill SC is where you can.
Except on X. I am
Yeah,
off
okay.
X entirely. I'm standing strong.
Maybe we'll just refer to we just will from this point on. X is not a thing. Well, unfortunately, it's still a thing. I uh, I do still have my X account. I haven't gotten rid of it, and the only reason is because we discussed it the other day. I am I think I am camping on that one, and maybe someone will come along that needs it. That doesn't
Well,
make
it seems like
sense.
there's about to be exoduses from other social media platforms
I'm
after
s-
yesterday's announcement from good old Zuckerberg.
yeah. So what is it? The day after he meets with Trump at Mar-a-Lago or something, like he comes out with this statement basically saying that between Instagram, Meta, and Threads, that there will no longer be any fact-checking bots that are going to give any warnings. They're not going to take any info. They're not going to take anybody's posts down. I think I saw
You
one.
know, it was like a mark of shame when you know somebody, let's say a state representative from South Carolina, hypothetically, posts a message and shares a meme. You recall that horrific New York subway incident where that crazy guy burned to death a
Yep.
homeless lady, right?
Yep.
So this state representative, and I wish I could share his name, I don't recall it, but he shared a meme that the victim was a nursing student, you know, young white lady, 20 something years old, say her name, etc. However, the victim hadn't been identified at that point. And that was a completely AI generated image. All the information was false. And he shared it as if it was fact to stoke the anti immigrant sentiment. And wouldn't you know it, Facebook slapped it with a false content message.
Right.
And you know how they even hide the image and say, the following image is false,
Yep.
been fact checked with the fact check underneath. It's like a mark of shame. It's a mark of stupidity that you did not do your homework. You fell for it. You shared it without verifying it. And so Facebook slapped it down. That goes away
Yeah.
in this world. That post stays. Everybody who reads it believes it. And then that anti immigrant sentiment just kicks into high gear. That's what Zuckerberg is unleashing. Community notes, okay, fine. But it's not the same as having a post obliterated from a fact check. And it was always enjoyable to watch it because it was truly
Oh
just
yeah.
one side that was getting those fact checks because they were the ones issuing the bullshit
Oh yeah.
most often.
I saw I did see a video of someone that posted, I guess, some of the, because of course when change log, when they make changes like this, there's a change log and it includes some of the verbiage about how Facebook, Meta, and Threads were going to react to certain things. And one of the breakdowns that this individual in the video happened to see was that Meta will now allow for people to post comments on their social media about anyone in the LGBTQ plus community as being mentally ill.
Yeah, yeah,
That
they're taking down content, that disparages people. They've removed that policy. They're now
yeah,
allowing it. They're saying, fine, you want to talk about people as being subhuman? Go right ahead. It's not
right.
our problem. And then the other ridiculous thing is that he said to remove bias from that type of content protection, he's moving that team from California to Texas.
Of course.
I was like, what? It's like you might as well just move that freaking thing to Mar-a-Lago while you're at it. Why don't you just put that team right in Donald Trump's castle and have the content moderation there? So people are pissed.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Like I honestly, I thought about what you had said about, Twitter X, and I was like, well, do we potentially start closing up shop on Facebook, Meta, and Instagram, because, or Instagram and Threads? And I said, because it just I don't know how to deal with that but then I also realized I never went to any of those for as a news source. I never went to those as like a platform that I go, oh well, I want to see what's happening in the world. Let me check Facebook, Instagram, maybe because you can do a search for a specific location and see what people are posting. If like, hearts, thoughts, and prayers and everything to everybody in Los Angeles and Southern California, where the Santa Ana winds are just ripping through there. Th- and I realize it only happens every couple years or every 3 or 4 years, but they're saying this is one of the worst that has been seen, or that Southern California's experienced. There's 5 dead, something like 20,000 people are displaced from their homes, and you're seeing stars like Steve Gutenberg and Nicolas Cage are now having to escape their homes in Malibu, which I'm not going to disparage them for living in Malibu or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think these are talented people. They've earned their money. They get paid what they get paid because somebody thinks they're worth it. But I all of these people, Steve Gutenberg, I mentioned Nicolas Cage. These are not bad people, and but
Well,
I've seen
Gutenberg, yeah, his
Police
movies
Academy
went
wasn't.
way downhill after Police Academy. So there's an argument to be made there, but I get your point.
Um, But, you know, so you could do a search like on Instagram, and you can do the same thing on TikTok and whatnot, but you can do a search for a location or search on a subject and get videos of people
Oh,
posting
I
about
saw a
what they're
video
experiencing.
yesterday of a guy who did not evacuate his house. And so the houses down there are pretty much glass walls all the way around because everybody wants to see the outside view. So he did not evacuate. It was just him and his dog, and there were these vortexes of fire whirlwinds all around his property,
Wow.
and it was the most frightening thing I'd ever seen. And the fact that this guy was still in his home as the fire encircled his property. Um, I checked the comments. Nobody had any conclusive evidence that he escaped or perished, so
Oh,
nobody really
man.
knew. People said he escaped. People said that he didn't. So you just don't know what happened. But the fact that he's sitting in his home, ignoring the evacuation, and then with his camera live streaming fire outside of his window, that's just a ridiculous world we live in.
It was Dick Van Dyke last month that was having to escape his, or back in Thanksgiving or Christmas, that he was having to escape his home in California, and I
I'm sorry, Dick Van Dyke. He's still alive.
yeah, he's like 99. But
God,
seriously, and and Dick Van Dyke, I think one of the greatest slipping minds, but minds as far as like comedy goes. But um, he he's like, yeah, he's 99 years old, and it was his 77-year-old son that had to help him get out of the house. It's like,
I thought you were about to say it was his 31-year-old girlfriend that had to help
nope,
him out.
nope. It was, yeah, his son is like
Well,
77,
it's
almost
coming
80
to a
years old.
point, Barrett, that there's only going to be two trusted sources of news, and that would be the All About Nothing podcast and the Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast. I'm going to have to unsubscribe from everything on social media except those two sources. So that's my advice to you today. Do the
Well,
same.
as far as the All About Nothing podcast, I suspect that ours is mostly going to be editorializing and opinionating the Donald Trump his press conferences from now on, because
Yeah.
I don't know how I had done this, but I had forgotten the um, not necessarily the insanity behind his press conferences, but I had forgotten about the how numerous they are, because at one point I think he boasted that he was the president that had the most news press conferences in the White House than any other president in history, and I was like, yeah,
They're
he
not,
does.
well, no, that's not a fact. That is incorrect because he did not hold news conferences or press conferences. He held stand-up comedy shows that were horrible.
That's true.
He was it was just entertainment to him.
That's true.
There wasn't any press, there wasn't any news received. And you know what? I made a commitment this time around. You talk about lessons learned, man. You can't just repeat the same shit that you did last time. So last time, every crazy thing he said dominated the news cycle for days, if not weeks,
Right.
right? This time around, we need to change that because pointing out stupid stuff he says, like changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of Mar-a-Lago or whatever it is he said, uh, focusing on that doesn't change hearts and minds because his followers and the people don't care. They say, well, as long as he gets the job done, he can say whatever dumb stuff he wants to say. So that's what I'm going to focus on this time around is focus on the job. So right now it is a matter of promises made, promises forgotten.
Yeah.
So as prices don't come down, as supply chain issues get worse, et cetera, those are going to be the messages that I'm going to promote. I'm going to ignore the stupid stuff he says and say, where are the groceries prices at? Where's my interest rates of my mortgages at? Where's everything else at that he promised on day one that he was going to fix? And start to hammer home that message. And that's the only thing that's going to change the hearts and minds so that in 2026, Congress flips, 2028, White House and Senate flip back. That's
Yeah.
that's the plan.
And you're not wrong. The
Well, no, I'm not because I just said it. I mean, goes without saying,
but
dude.
but some of the stupid stuff he says is pretty concerning. This idea of the United States potentially, because
No, no, it doesn't matter because it never comes to fruition anyway.
no, I
So the stupid crap he says never comes true. It becomes speculation and dominates discussion with everybody, and every representative gets asked about it, but nothing ever comes from it. Meanwhile, prices are still high, employment still, everybody's still in pain from it. Uh, all the things that people voted him into office for have not been addressed, and that's what I want to focus on.
well, while you won't focus on it, there are world leaders now that are focusing on it. They are now trolling Trump by coming out and doing the president of Mexico this just yesterday or the day before came out and said that based on maps from 1620 that most of Western United States should still be Mexico America or Mexican America and I know they're just trolling him, but that will turn into a reaction from him at some point, either overnight, last night, or tomorrow, or whatever. And then that's just how these things bear. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened with Justin Trudeau and what his actual reason for deciding that he was no longer being prime minister. I know he was unpopular. I know that they have a populist conservative that seems to be growing in popularity, which is kind of concerning because I have seen interviews with him and the the way that he approaches the media is similar in fashion to Donald Trump, but it is without it is it's with there's a sense of calmness to it where Donald Trump of course just becomes very unhinged very quickly and accusatory and tells people that they're terrible reporters or but this guy in Canada, he controls himself like it's like he's getting ready, like he's a mob boss, like he's an actual don that is setting you up to say something where he's just going to cap you in the head like this, like that guy freaks me out. And but Trudeau started falling out of grace with the Canadians years ago. I mean, you saw a steady decline, but now with Trump coming back and with this, I can't remember his name. I'm sure it's something French. Not to discredit the French, but but you see these leaders that are having to react to Trump, and they're the fact that Canada is completely denying the ability for the United States, and it's not possible. I mean, sure, militarily, yeah, we would overtake Canada very easily, but Canadians don't want to be Americans. Like he boasts about this idea that there are Canadians that want to join the United States. Canada has universal health care. Granted, they pay for taxes for it. Yes, there are some extra services that may come with a certain period of time that you have to wait because there's a waiting line to things that you don't necessarily, they're not medically necessary, but universal health care in Canada works. They're not going to want to come to the United States where they're going to have to pay for insurance that doesn't cover anything basically. I'm literally fighting with insurance right now over a doctor's visit that our doctor's office marked as a wellness visit because we get a wellness visit every year for my daughters, and the insurance company's not wanting to cover it because they think the doctor billed incorrectly. The doctor thinks the insurance is being wrong. And so I literally have to get the two of them on the phone together to try and
Yeah, it
work it
becomes
out.
your job now.
Yeah. And I don't get paid to resolve insurance issues. You know, the only thing I get out of it is the bill going to be $404 or is it going to be $76? Like that's and ultimately for a lot of us that's important. This is the kind of bullshit that United States citizens have to put up with, and we can't get the government to resolve. And
I saw a TikTok video yesterday of a guy who said that he had criticized the insurance industry in one video, and then the very next day, his insurance company sends him a message, say with a $12,000 bill,
yeah,
saying that he had gone to a doctor that was in network, got a just a routine physical covered by insurance. The doctor said, "Well, let's get some lab work done. Some standard lab work." He says, "Fine." That was part of the doctor visit. Turns out the lab work was out of network, and just to draw some blood and analyze it was $12,000 freaking dollars, and that'll bankrupt most people in
oh
the
yeah,
United States.
oh yeah,
It's not. Hey, speaking of TikTok, the clock is ticking, man. And
I know.
what's going to happen here in a few days?
So I guess to
I think the
tomorrow,
Supreme Court,
yes,
yes,
Supreme's
has a
going to hear
hearing
it.
on it tomorrow.
Yeah, Supreme's going to hear it tomorrow, and they aren't going to render a decision on it probably till June. Um,
But
I
I think the issue is that they're looking for a temporary stay
yeah,
of the law to ban it, so that they can buy time for a final decision to be made.
yeah.
So that's going to be the real outcome for tomorrow, I hope.
Yeah, I'm hoping that TikTok sticks around. I'm my fear is, and I said this during a live I did on my TikTok at Bear Gruber. But I said that a friend of mine says that they have inside information as to what it is that the Congress did get, and it has mostly to do with financial and TikTok's got our location. They know where we're at.
It's sort of
Um,
every app in the universe, so I'm
yeah,
not worried about that.
yeah, but the belief is that China's on the verge of launching a cyber attack, and the data that they have collected from TikTok is what will be is part of what they will use to target specific locations with or companies and things like that. And I said, well, I don't know what difference that makes because if China collected that data before ByteDance moved their servers to the United States, where they are now secured servers in the United States, China has all that data from the previous collection. I guarantee you, they backed it up. They have whatever. So, whatever threat or security threat that TikTok posed previously, to me, is now no longer a threat, except that they still have the data, which goes for any company that that collects data. Like you said, Meta
So is
collects
that why
all
you
the same
guys
data.
ended the What the Pod Was That podcast? You were worried about China's collection of data of all the TikToks you were watching?
Well, you bring that up. What the pod was that is coming back in February.
Yeah, that was my favorite podcast, by the way. You have no idea how much I miss it.
Yeah, we're gonna bring what the pod back. We are going to we're gonna start recording this month. We're gonna get a couple episodes in so that we can have something to release in February. Ultimately, we had there were some family issues. Carrie,
Uh,
uh, she lost her dog, and she's had this dog since before her kids moved
yeah,
out, and that was crushing.
yeah. Listen,
So
I appreciate that, but my philosophy is, and this is me personally, podcasts take precedence over everything. Like, you probably don't even realize that I died last year. I actually was deceased, and yet I still did the podcast. It's prioritization, Barrett. You got to really set those priorities and let nothing get in the way.
that's fair.
Yeah.
And I read your book, Why Family Doesn't Matter. At least,
No, no, no. It was why my family doesn't matter. It was you don't get the title wrong. Your family may be a different story.
where's Amanda? I'm gonna have to send her a message and ask her about this.
So
Does it
Amanda
feel?
is my 28-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
getting married on May 31st, by the way.
Hey, congratulations.
And I'll confess this. This is a funny anecdote. She's marrying a guy named JC. His last name is Guzman. His family is his parents were immigrants from I want to say El Salvador. Sometimes I get those countries mixed up, but I think it's El Salvador. But he's just the nicest guy, perfect for her. They've been together for years. I couldn't be happier for the both of them.
That's
But this
awesome.
whole time, JC stood for Juan Carlos. At least I thought it did.
Oh no.
It was John Carlos, I learned just a few months ago. This is a guy I've known for 7, 8 years since the two started dating.
I don't know what happened to you, Bill. You there
I'm
you
I'm
are.
back.
Okay, I
Yeah,
was
I don't
gonna
know what
say.
happened either. It was a reconnecting occurring. Anyhow, this whole time I thought it was Juan Carlos, and maybe it was just the white middle-aged male in me that assumed it was Juan. But but my daughter, we're texting back and forth, and she says, "Oh, okay, racist." She called her racist, and so I wrote back, "You know what? Maybe Trump's onto something here." Says I may submit his name to be first on the list. Uh, anyhow, my daughter and I have the exact same sense of humor, which makes for fun conversations.
Yeah, she and I have messaged back and forth a couple times about some TikTok videos that have come up,
Yeah,
and I was gonna say on her TikTok, I haven't seen any recently, and it might be I didn't know about the wedding. That's fantastic, but she was doing a this day in uh, like newspaper history. Like she'd go back
right.
and read articles from newspapers from this day in like 1920, which I told her, I told her, I was like, that is such a fantastic click.
Did you see the one where she discovered that her great great grandmother on her mother's side, ran a brothel in town
yes,
back in
yep,
the late 1800s?
yep.
So she found the news article and everything. She was rather proud of that fact.
So? Is that your grandmother, Bill, that was running a
No, no, no.
brothel?
On her
That's
mother's side. On
her
her
mother's.
mother's side. Yeah.
Why do I feel like that's the setup to a punchline? I'll be careful. Well, Bill, it is we have approached the witching hour.
Awesome.
So I appreciate you being on with me again. I think this works. I'm gonna say you have to keep doing this.
All right. So what are we settling into a Tuesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday
yeah,
routine? Do you want to
Tuesday,
go more
Thursdays.
frequent?
Yeah, Tuesday,
Okay.
Thursdays. I think that works. You can check out Bill Kimler. Of course, he former chair of the Greenwood County
No, I'm
Democrats.
still I'm still
You're
chair
still you're still chair until the election.
until March 1st.
Okay.
And then we'll elect some new leadership,
Have you
hopefully.
endorsed anyone for new leadership yet?
We don't
Or
have
have you
anybody
pulled
signed up to
someone?
run yet. So
Oh,
and
okay.
I will not be endorsing. I am going to be just moderating but staying neutral.
All right. So Bill Kimler out of Greenwood, South Carolina. You can check him out on all the social media except for X. Sorry, Political Bill SC. You want to check that out at Political Bill SC. I am Barrett Gruber. You can find me on all the social media at Barrett Gruber, and you can go to the All About Nothing podcast as well. Bill hosts Black, White, and Blue in the South. Uh, Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast, which will be coming back. New episode next
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Next
Yeah,
Wednesday.
that's the dream.
I look forward to that. We will have All About Nothing podcast. Will have a new episode coming out on Monday if we manage to get it recorded. We were supposed to record last night. Did not happen. We
Oh,
did not record last night. There were some things that happened on our guest's attempt, Matt Villardo, to arrive where we were all supposed to record. So we have had to postpone that. We're gonna have to record remotely tonight for that episode.
what did he
But
go to the old studio by accident?
no, he suffered a flat tire and did not leave Fort
Oh,
Mill.
ouch.
So, we're gonna record that tonight, and, we'll get that published on Monday, but, go check out the episode that Zach and I recorded for our New Year's episode, so alright. Thank you very much, Bill.
All
Thank you
right. Talk
much,
to you next
everybody.
week.
You all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Oh, yeah, I figure if,